All right, guys, we've got wall walks tomorrow in our skill session. So some tips, some things to think about as you guys are doing your wall walks. So hopefully going on the ground doesn't mess up the mic here. But first up, when we're starting, we'll have our line. Hands have to stay on that line until both feet get on the wall. So just a little reminder for anybody who's newer. But great tip to start off on the wall walk is to go to this child's pose position. So instead of trying to push up from here, burning out the shoulders, rock back, get yourself set in this position before you start off that wall walk. So from here, push those arms straight. You're going to straighten those legs and then walk that first foot up the wall. Second foot's up. So we're clear to start walking. So that's how we can get ourselves to the wall. Hands are still on our 55 or 60-inch line until we get there. So that's how you can get them set up and get up to the wall the way that will count in the open if we wind up seeing those again. And then as far as getting into actual walking, we want to child's pose, straighten those legs. 1, 2. We don't actually want to max out as high as we can. So that gets a lot of people where they're stuck and they can barely move. We actually want to come back down a little bit. Now I can free up my body to move a lot further on that first step. So we don't want to max out our feet at the top of our initial setup or those first steps on the wall walk. We want to go just shy of that. I can think 1 to 2 inches lower. And it's going to make it a lot easier to move those hands for the first time. And then for those people that are struggling to even move at all, even in that proper setup position, the thing they need to work on is their straight arm strength, their core stability. So reasons that people are not able to move their feet or move their hands in the wall walk, they're moving like feet, but reasons people get stuck or get pinned is they don't have the ability, or they may have their feet too close together so they can go out. They don't have the ability to shift their body weight and get into this kind of one-handed tripod handstand position. So they're just trying to pick up their hand, which if I don't shift my weight, I'm going to fall. So we need to shift our weight so that I actually have to move my feet. I'm just going to slide my hips, my body weight to free up my hand. I'm able to hold. So for them, it might just look like this, where they're just lifting their palm to their fingertips. And obviously, eventually, we can maybe turn that into a shoulder tap, and then it can turn into walking those hands there. So that's a big reason why a lot of people who are just learning wall walks can't walk, is they keep everything in that straight line where they need to shift their hips over to shift their body weight over that one hand that they're going to put their weight on and support themselves so they can move their other hand, right? So to be able to shift those hips and lift, we also have to maintain a nice hollow body position. So if we are up there on the wall in that Superman or arched body position, we're not going to have that strength or stability. So we want to hollow out, shift our weight, and then we're going to be able to free up our hands. So strengthening up those positions, they can do they could go piked on a box as well to work on shifting those hips and shifting that weight before they actually get up on the wall. That could definitely help some of our newer athletes out, getting into a piked handstand, shift the weight to the side until we can get into that one hand support position, even if it's just lifting weight from the palm, lifting weight from the fingertips. So that would be for your newer athletes or any of you guys who are just learning. For someone who's got wall walks down and then we want to be more efficient, that shift is going to help them as well, or help you as well, because that's going to allow you, the better you are at that, the better you can take longer steps and cut down your steps. So if we're doing our wall walk and we can get to that 10-inch line in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back out in 1, 2, 3, that's about as good as it gets. Really tall athletes can get there in less, but most folks 4 and 3 is really, really good. So the way that we get there is having the ability to stay hollow, tighten our core to take longer strides. And then alongside that, we also didn't max out our first step. So our first step can be as big as possible. So for folks that are trying to decrease their steps, athletes who already have wall walks that are pretty proficient, we can get ourselves set from here. We got ourselves on the wall. Now from here, I haven't maxed out my feet. I'm down here. So this is going to free up this first really big step for me, whether it's right hand or left hand. Big step, get my weight on that other hand, another big step, right? So that's what's freeing me up there, is I'm making that space. You can see I'm also kind of keeping my 1 foot down to allow myself to kind of bear or kind of monkey crawl. So I'm almost wall walking up the wall, similar to a low bear crawl there. So tips that you can use for newer athletes just starting out, and then tips you can use for your more advanced athletes on the wall walk.